Hi, Jenny.
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm having one of those mornings where, well, it's like noon now, but I had
hmm
a perfect night where I like ordered delivery and watched a movie, slept perfectly, like fell asleep
Oh God.
sober, and I'm
Yeah.
struggling to like be
Oh,
awake
really?
right now. Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much
And
rest.
too much rest, maybe. It's a very bizarre feeling. So, yeah, bear
All
with
right.
me if I'm a
Well,
little slow.
no problem. Where are you?
I'm in Chicago. Where are you at?
I'm in Seattle.
Okay, nice. How long
Yeah.
have you lived there for?
Oh, I've been here for about 8 years. Before that was
Okay,
Portland. Before that
yeah,
was LA. Before that was Seattle.
yep,
And before that was LA, I
yep,
think.
yeah.
Did you grow up there in Chicago?
I grew up in Wisconsin, Green Bay to
Yeah.
be exact. But I've lived here for, at least 16 years.
Yeah.
So
What was
Chicago's
gr-
home.
what was growing what was growing up in Green Bay like?
It was um, very sad to grow up
It
there.
was?
It
Oh, I'm sorry.
was.
Sorry to laugh, but
Yeah.
I didn't
Um,
think you were going to say that.
yeah. Well, I think the only reason anyone would know what Green Bay is because of the Packers. And the
Sure.
entire culture revolves around the Green Bay Packers. Like even the trash cans are green and gold, street
Right.
signs. So it's like, feels like you're kind of in this cult and it's the only important thing. And so, there's just not a lot of culture there. I think as a child, I couldn't wait to be an adult and leave.
Right. Did
But yeah,
growing up did bands come through there? Did you see bands
I
or was that
didn't.
more like Milwaukee?
That was more Milwaukee and Chicago.
Mhm.
Yeah, not people didn't tour here, although I think they did in the 90s. So, yeah, so I'm 30 I'm 36. So, I
Mhm.
probably just missed whatever window happened where
Sure.
anyone would travel, find it valuable to travel up there.
Right.
But there was music happening. I did grow up going to Eagles clubs and
Mm.
watching my friends play. And that was really the only um, venue for watching music, unless it was, the stadium there. So I guess, like, I'm sure, I don't know,
Right.
but like, uh, you know, whatever big bands going through and then like fairs, seeing like Journey cover bands or something.
Right.
so so it was
Did
very limited. Yeah.
Okay. Did did you grow up playing music either uh in school or bands or
A little bit. Yeah, when I was, maybe 4 years old, I started taking piano lessons. However, I never became a piano virtuoso, unfortunately. You think something good would happen there from starting so young, but I just despised lessons so much and kind of maybe
Oh,
I can't say I do now. I'm actually considering taking lessons again because I find it to be very valuable. But growing up, I just hated it, so I wouldn't practice at all.
yeah.
But yeah, grew up, had a piano at home, and in school, I guess I played clarinet for a little bit. But if I picked one up, I wouldn't know how to play it. I don't think.
Right.
Uh,
And did
yeah,
you start playing music once you moved to Chicago?
I did not immediately. No.
Mm.
I started kind of late. I think by industry standards, I probably started playing music around when I was 25,
Hmm.
and I
That's too
had
late. You're not
it's too
qualified.
I'm not qualified. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like an old hag, by then already. So, yeah. And I never intended to play music. It wasn't a goal of mine, and when I was in my 20s, I was like a beekeeper, and I thought, and I loved
Oh, neat.
music, uh, my whole life, but it just wasn't, uh, a goal of mine. But I had a karaoke machine, and a turntable, and this synth that I think it's like popular with people who play in church. It's like this Roland XP80, so it's one of
Oh,
those
yeah.
80s synthesizers, right? That has like 300 sound banks and a
Hmm.
sequencer, a quantizer, and stuff. So I like accidentally learned how to compose songs by learning sequencing and quantizing. Um,
Neat.
and, and, and then I was just hooked. It was like so I was like, I learned how to basically dub on my karaoke machine and just like create these
Whoa.
really and then I
That's
had
a
like a
brat.
microphone that my roommate at the time gave me, this like amazing
Hmm.
microphone. Like, I don't know if you ever get attached to certain pieces of gear, but that's like one piece of gear I wish I still had, where I don't even know what it was, but it felt like
Right.
kind of like had the quality of those like electro voice microphones. It's just like kind of like feels like a
Hmm.
school, like made for a school PA or something, like when you're doing the
Right.
morning
Yeah.
announcements. It just has that great quality to it. So yeah, so I had one of those, and yeah, I just created these really kind of,
Yeah.
terrible songs, just I mean, my God, if anyone heard them, I don't know what I would do. But that's how I started. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for one, we got to find that microphone.
I know. I
Please
should
help
I should
Jenny find the
ask.
microphone. Let's
Yeah,
look
yeah.
around.
I know. I'm still friends with sort of. I ran into my old roommate recently, in fact, and he's about to go work for NASA now, which is amazing. He went from like, working at this local bar for so many years, and then having a rock collection. And then I saw him maybe a couple months ago, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm moving, working for NASA now." Well, all
Oh
right.
my God. All right.
Impressive. Yeah,
What a
yeah. So
coincidence. You should have said, what a coincidence. So am I.
what a coincidence. Me too.
Weird. Well, that experience, uh, I would say, and whatever else happened in between then and now, your new record, Giddy Skelter, that experience seemed to bear some fruit, I would think. Now that I know that, I'm making it up, but I'm putting things together on this record, which I really love this record. It's so great.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
Giddy Skelter is a collaboration of you and Tim Kinsella, who is banned from tour stories for 10 years, as we discussed earlier. But I'm glad that you came in his place.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Thanks
this
for having me.
record, again, I love it. It's a fun listen. It's a collage of I would say noise, live
Hmm.
instrumentation, sampling, and um, electro beats. It's a lot more than that, but that's just off the top of my head. Um, and it's I love experimental music. It I would maybe at times put it into an experimental category, but it's very hooky. So
Yeah,
uh, it's kind of full circle for me. Um, so congrats,
yeah,
that record is
yeah.
fantastic.
Thank
Uh,
you.
and I want to and I want to talk more about uh, how you recorded it, etc. But there is a larger picture surrounding Giddy Skelter, which is this zine that you put together called Giddy Skelter, a case study, how to make the record you want to make. And it is a zine, a book, if you will, a publication of charts and drawings and writings, but it's truly a guide to, well, a look into your process and possibly a guide to making a perfect record. And I just think I've looked at the whole thing and it's just so great. It's so great. And it's not, to me, it's like, at first I was like, oh, this is neat. This is part of the record. Like it's liner
Yeah.
notes and art.
Right,
But
right,
it
right.
also, it has some external validity, as the scientists say. I think someone could just use this as a model and at the very least have fun, but probably
Sure.
make the record they want.
Sure.
And it's great to look at, and your the words are, it's very candid and kind of personal and funny, but practical and
Mhm.
direct. It's really neat. Um, and I find that so interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about that, the origin of that? And was that the chicken or was that the egg or did they all come together?
Right. Well, gosh. So what's amazing is even this record is at least 2 years old, right? So it's ancient to Tim and I.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure as
Yeah,
you can relate when you know how release cycles go and how
sure.
you're at least for me, and I'm sure you feel the same way, as like you're always most excited about the thing you're working on right now, because you've
Yeah,
overcome whatever process from the previous record. And so, right, I would say it's the zine is a document of that process because was it had so many layers to it because it could, because of the pandemic, because we were at home, because we wanted to just experiment in this particular way, using more chance than just sitting and writing songs. And it's unlike any process we've used for our previous records, that are under our old band name, Good Fuck, which, we just
right.
uh, changed that name for maybe obvious reasons.
It's a
But
great name.
I like the name as well. But, sometimes when you're trying to do more
Yeah,
formal stuff, like, oh, I would really like this
yeah,
grant. I would really like this
yeah,
residency where you have, middle aged women looking at it and just being like, so distasteful, why I
yeah.
got to do that. So we dropped it, and also, which is fine. I don't feel like attached to band names, and I think they're really
Mm-hmm.
easy to get sick of. Like they
Sure.
they just, I feel like a title for a record is more important than what your band name is, because
That's a good point. I think all band names start to sound stupid after a
I
while
agree.
to
Yeah,
the employees of the band, to the
yeah,
founding members.
it's really
And then you
hard,
get
but
over a
then,
hump and you're just like, oh, okay, well, we just have a stupid name. Oh, well.
yeah, you just have to deal with it. No one's going to let you change it, especially once people know who you are. It's just like it's
Right.
over. You're just stuck with it.
Yeah,
And it makes me feel, yeah, like a teenager or something, You're like
exactly.
uh
Yeah.
um so yeah, so dropping the band name I feel totally okay with. But yeah, so that's all to say that it was a new process. We wanted to document it. A lot of, some of the most fun parts of that were just the chance elements, mm, we did a lot of song starts, not full songs, but um basis for songs, probably, I don't even remember how many, maybe it was 30, maybe it was 60. It's
Hmm.
in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think we did like a voting system of listening. Like at the time, I think we pulled me out of bed in the middle of our living room. Like we made the record at our house in our house, and recorded
Okay.
everything at home. Just on a, I think we recorded it on Ableton. Um,
Okay.
and so we listened, like laid out on our bed, lit some incense, put on the candles, and
Yeah.
like yeah, decided, did a tallying, and then like kept whittling that down, and then as well, like with like the lyrics, we kind of I think we took all the lyrics that were written, cut them up line by line, put them in bags, like closed our eyes, pulled out pieces of paper, and then put them onto separate pieces of paper, looked at them, decided what you know piece of music could work with those words, and then altered
Oh,
the
wow.
words from there, and so on and so forth. I mean, just really kind of uh yeah, not seeing if some sort of exterior faith could lead us to somewhere interesting, or like at least surprising to us, as opposed to trying to
Right.
force some sort of idea or feeling, having the feeling arrive in that way of chance.
Right. And there's so much more in this zine as well. Like your a lit. I like the lists. I like lists.
Oh,
Um,
me too.
but there's the list. I think you have a playlist, and I think you maybe have possibly a list of influences. I'm not sure,
Yeah, a list of that, and a
but
list of
yeah,
books. Yeah,
and a list of books,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's interesting to me because I don't know why, but I've always been a little bit scared to read books about the artistic process. I don't know why.
Oh, that's
I don't know if it's
interesting.
just some inward looking I do not want to do. I'm guessing it's that. But
Well, I don't
you're
know.
this but this zine is different. I mean this is probably the first one I've really actually read, and I consider it a book on the artistic process.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think you gatewayed me.
I think so. That's great. Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, do enjoy reading about, yeah, people's processes. I don't,
Hmm.
I can't like think of any books though, off the top of my head that I'd be like, oh, this changed my life.
Sure.
I think it's better to just read them and forget it, and then see, you know, how it comes through. And maybe that's why you're a little resistant. It's like you don't want to be too influenced, or you don't, and it's like you don't necessarily want to take someone else's process, right? It's like, well,
That's
that's
true.
not new, and you're not gonna necessarily, you're gonna be like possibly comparing yourself to the person who created that process.
Right.
So I understand that for sure.
Yeah, I might be self-conscious of doing something incorrect. No, I don't think that's
Yeah,
it, but somewhere along those lines.
yeah, no, I feel you. I
Um,
feel you.
the other thing with the words, and as you described how you sort of chose the words to fit with the music, um, a lot of the words, it's surprising to me because a lot of the words and lyrics are non-ambiguous, and they're pretty intense and poignant. And
Mm,
relative to your process, which I don't want to call it just random pick. It seems very thoughtful with what you were doing,
mm,
but it's interesting how it landed that way. Like if you told me it's, as they say, on paper, which you do in the zine, I would
mm.
just guess like, oh, they'll be, I mean, they may be great, but they'll be a little ambiguous. They may
Yeah.
fit better with the tone of the music, but they're not, they they're very poignant, and
Oh,
it's really
thanks.
amazing.
Yeah, it did work out somehow. I mean,
Yeah,
and I do think I don't we did a lot of rewriting for sure.
sure. Okay.
to to
Yeah.
make it so, and especially, yeah, for me, when it comes to singing something, it does have to sound right. It has to be singable.
Yeah.
So, um,
Well, it
yeah,
worked.
yeah, it worked. Thanks.
It worked for me. Um, well, I'd like to play Nina. Is that cool with you?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Does anybody here remember Nana? We got winded sprints in her little toy shop, but the language on my breath continues to deliver me reliably. Amazement to languid amazement. I was You started the party in that dust that was the city, but I'm still a prisoner, daring escape, faking fun, playing games with the playful gods.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Of course, everyone loves that ending. Everyone's got to hear that ending.
It feels good.
It does. It feels so good. Just live drums. After the Journey, which I believe that song is a great journey. It's kind of a two-part experience.
Yeah.
It's really great. And you have a
Yeah.
video with it too, right?
We do. Yeah, our friend Jonathan Van Herrick directed that one. He's
Yeah.
in that band Fax, maybe formerly known as Disappears. Uh,
Right.
Chicago rock legends,
I
if you
do.
will.
Yeah.
Everyone loves him.
Uh
But yeah,
yep.
he was great.
Well, I want to hear a little bit about you recorded this all in your house.
Mhm.
And I think I read that you two picked up a new instrument in the
Yeah.
recording process or at the beginning of it. bass for you,
Yeah.
Ableton for Tim.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. The Ableton thing was out of convenience because he was using Reason. I
Hmm.
think, yeah, Reason, which I just can't wrap my head around. Like I get it. I get that it's
Yeah.
like these racks and you're like building a studio basically
Yeah.
in a DAW. But it just annoyed me. I mean, honestly, working on a computer annoys me.
Sure.
Because you're just using a mouse. It's like the most unfeeling thing.
Yeah.
And so, but it is, I do think Ableton is incredible for composing songs. It's just so much faster, and you can like kind of know straight away if a song's going to work or not. You can build out a structure in like, 5 minutes or something.
Right.
So that was like super, super helpful for him to learn Ableton. And now I think he loves it and it's great. And then bass is just something I've always wanted to play. And I think Tim bought me this like, what is it? It's like a Gretsch, like Les Paul, like type of like newer bass. Like it's like a cheap bass, but a good starter bass.
Hmm.
Um and I just took like online lessons. I just like think I found like some YouTube thing, like some like dude who's like, check out like, here, what's up here with bass buzz, and I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, and I took like this whole online course, and then but it worked. I'm like, okay, I know how to play
Yeah.
bass now, pretty much. And now I would say it's my primary instrument.
Oh, neat.
But yeah, I don't know how much bass I mean, yeah, I guess I played a lot of bass on that record, but that definitely
Yeah.
made a difference. And I think there's always something really interesting about people starting using something in a way that they don't quite know how to do it. So it's like, of course I
Yeah.
kind of knew how to technically play bass, but it's like, as
Yeah.
far as like, I don't know, like it's not like I knew all my scales, or like
Right.
I'm not like a huge music theory person yet. I'd like to be.
Right.
I'd really like to be.
Well, I mean, just it. Yeah. Yeah. Just anyone's first anyone's first take on an instrument, and I would consider Ableton an instrument in this circumstance.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Using something wrong is the most interesting thing
Yeah.
to do.
And I also, there's a density to all of the songs, and it makes me wonder, and you kind of described it earlier, but it made me wonder if you had demos and then you listened to them and then you started all over, which a lot of people do, or did you just build on the demos until the record was done?
Yeah, I
Or
think
something in between.
Yeah, no, I think we built on the demos this time, and a huge part of that process was going to the Art Institute, and that's also in the zine. We talk about that a little bit,
Right.
because again, this is the pandemic, so we have a membership to the Art Institute, and then nobody was there. Like you would maybe see 10
Right.
people the whole time, which is definitely not the case. Typically when you go to museum, you're just kind of like fighting off anxiety. Usually, at least I am,
Right.
when I'm at, or in trying to like sneak past people, or you're feeling like you need to move on like quickly. And it just really, it feels like a disruptive process to like what seeing visual art is. but
Right.
but we would go and each kind of take our separate routes, and listening to all the demos and listening and going from, ancient or primitive art to the contemporary wing and ending there. And I feel like, yeah, we thought of the beginning of the record as like being more primitive and then ending with some sort of contemporary
Neat.
feeling. I don't
That's
know if
great.
that really happened. I don't think that it's not quite that literal. It's all kind of
Right.
blended together, but that is how we calibrated ourselves, I would
Right.
say, was through
That's
these
great.
visual means.
And so you recorded the entire record in the apartment. Did you mix it and everything there too?
We mixed the record at Electrical with our friend Cooper Crane,
Mm.
who's in Bitchin' Bajas.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's just so great. And he and we spent, I don't know how many days we mixed for. How many days? Maybe like a week, though. We did spend a lot of days in the studio, really focusing on the mix and tweaking the
Yeah.
sounds in that way. Uh it just adding that extra layer of depth, even though it is a
Yeah.
pretty dense record. There's a lot of tracks on every song for sure.
Yeah.
So that also
Yeah.
required us to be in the studio kind of for long days. Like we probably mixed two songs tops in a day, and that would be like
Uh-huh.
a very long day. Like maybe
Yeah.
10 hours.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because I have recorded a lot of stuff in my house or in my studio,
Yeah.
but it's so transforming when you can go to a mixer, preferably in a studio, that
Yes.
you trust and like, and it really is like it consistently for me just opens it up. It's like, whoa. And it kind of, like you get kind of psyched
Yeah,
again.
you
And
kind of
it
feel like you're.
shows a little light to what you did.
Yeah, you're actually hearing the record for the
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
time, kind
exactly.
of like,
Yeah.
oh, and what is that?
Yeah.
And there's actually potentially some things where you're like, oh, that's not even like in the same key, maybe,
You're right.
or something, or
Because you've
it
heard it
doesn't.
1 million times. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like no longer this pile of mush. So yeah, it's a privilege to mix in a studio, but I really can't imagine not mixing in a studio.
I
I think
can't really
everyone
either.
should.
Yeah. Objectivity.
Yes.
At some point you need some objectivity.
Yeah.
Well, how do you have you played these songs live much?
We have played the living shit out of these songs. I mean, I
All
am,
right.
yeah. In fact, I mean, I don't even know if I should say this, but I'm going to say we don't even, our record's out now and we're not even playing any of those songs live anymore. It's over.
You're past them.
We're past them. We have a new record in the works, and we've written maybe 7 songs now, and so we just play like
Mhm.
basically like what's the beginning of the record, because I think the best way to workshop a record is to play it out live.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess like maybe it's like I'm sure we're gonna play some of the songs from the record as we hit the road, and more in like November and December and April. But yeah, for now we're like, I don't know, we're a new band.
Yeah.
We play. Our friend Theo, who is in Joan of Arc, is playing drums with us now, and we have untethered from the computer.
Okay.
Because like I just can't understand how anyone handles like the potential failure of like CPU overload.
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Like, yeah,
gross.
it's just
It's
like
so
makes me
annoying.
sick. Like it
Yeah.
like there needs to
It's just like,
be something, like someone needs to invent just like a box being like CPU saver, and you just
yeah,
like plug it in. But then, I'm sure if that happened, it would be like, well, you need a dongle, and then the
yeah,
dongle breaks and then you're fucked.
right. And then so you have to have a backup of the dongle and
Yeah.
always have the CPU saver charged,
Yep.
which will probably be the weirdest charger ever
Yeah,
because the voltage
exactly.
has to be perfect.
Exactly. And then you have to buy one for overseas and it costs $500.
Exactly. It's the CPU blues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah,
you're free of that.
we're free of that.
Great.
Yeah.
What's your instrumentation when you play now?
So it's drums, bass, guitar, a couple guitars, and then I recently picked up this it's called a Piano Player Plus by Roland. I think it's an 80s
Mm.
synth, and it kind of looks like a Juno in the sense, like the buttons on there have that like Juno buttons, and like it's very simple. It's just a piano
Mm-hmm.
and a harp sound, like a couple piano sounds, harp sounds, and then drum machines, like the pre-recorded like drum loops, but they
Yeah.
sound great because it's kind of like it's got like the heaviness of like an 808,
Cool.
and then also a couple arpeggiators, so that's like been really fun to play that, and that's like going through a large pedal board, and then another roll-in, like another organ string, and then that's it. That's the whole thing.
All
It's just so
right.
simple, in a way,
Cool.
besides the fact that we're carrying like 7 amps now.
Yeah. There's the dogs.
There they
Sorry.
are.
1 second. I have to stop this. Dudes. Stop. Stop. Get it. Go. Get out of here. Stop. All of you. Sorry about that.
The dog fight.
Symphony.
Yeah.
So you are you mentioned that you are gonna do some touring. Where are you going in
A little
November?
bit. In November, we're going to, I guess, the Southwest mostly. We're starting in
Mm-hmm.
LA, and then we're going down, and then like ending in Austin. It's a little bit of a weird jaunt, maybe like a week or so, and then
Yeah. That's a nice jaunt at this time of the year.
it is, and then we're going to the UK in November, and then yeah, East Coast in the spring. Maybe we'll do some things in between then, but like we have a couple one-offs. We're going to Detroit just for like a show.
Yeah.
This week, which is hilarious. I mean, as you can imagine being like, yeah, just going to Detroit for a show. But and then like New York next week, which is a little more reasonable because you're like, well, I'm in New York.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you're not coming to my neck of woods, but I might be in the Southwest very soon. Not living there, but just visiting. So I'll look for you. I'd like to see this. I'd love to see these tunes, and I'd love to see the new tunes also.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep the name? Are you gonna change the name?
I don't think so. I think it's just our names. And then,
Okay.
and then we have Theo, who's just humbled himself for now to be our third.
Right. Do you think you'll, at some point, if you just keep using your names, do you think this has ever happened where someone's like, God, I feel like a teenager. We're just using our names.
Oh, I
don't think
so.
that'll ever, I think it's bulletproof.
It might be. It might
Maybe.
be. Unless
You're the
people,
li-
unless like people start like giving you nicknames. That would be like
That's
the teenage
right.
flip where they like take your name and then like you
Oh,
have enough fans where they create nicknames for you, then
right.
it's like it's over. Then you really have regressed. But
God, I just started making up funny nicknames for you guys, but I'm not gonna.
I mean,
I don't want to spread them out in the world because they'll
not
be
yet.
shouting
It's
them at
too
you.
soon. It's too soon.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, travel safe. It was great talking to you.
Thank
And
you. You too.
anyone can get this record at the old Kill Rock Stars store. And congratulations again. It's great. I have a question.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure this out.
Uh-huh.
Is the zine available? Is it published?
It is
It out there?
available.
Can I get it?
Yes, it's available on our website,
cool.
kinsellaandpulse.com, or on Bandcamp. So anyone can get that very easily, or if you come see us at a show, we'll have them.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to order one when we're done here.
Oh, I'll mail you
I
one.
love it.
Yep, I'm going to mail you one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, travel safe when you're out there, and take care of yourself. Say hello to Tim. Tell him 10 years isn't that far away.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Take it easy. Bye.
You too. Bye.
The ongoing and ever-present instruction of your heart, attaching. The ongoing and ever-present reduction of your smart, detaching. Make space available to fill it in again. I keep a close watch on this time of mine, but no way I could guess the day. What good reason could there possibly be for this difference? A door hidden in the bookcase. Have we impersonated our replicants so perfectly? Make space available to fill it in again. That's heavy honor, defend your spoil. Cycling karma to sharpen latent ideology.